Chapter 3 Tiendita Migration, 1970s. I want to die as a slave to principles, not as a slave to men. Emiliano Zapata. Ever since I can remember, I had always been attached to my grandma Yayita. She had always been there for me. Our relationship was magic. We did so many things together. When we went to the movies, and so she wouldn't have to pay for my ticket, she used to carry me into the movie theater even when I was over 6 years old. She was bright that way. She would say, "What we save on your movie entrance, mijo, we can spend it on popcorn and soda." Although nothing is for free, she would smile and say, "You go to school, mijo, then come and work with me at the grocery store. Then we can go to the movies." It always made sense. I skipped school, and Grandma and I would play hooky. Sometimes we would take a sudden vacation to see our family in Tijuana. Although the trip from Michoacan to Tijuana was a 3-day bus trip, it was always an incredible experience. "You will charge 15 cents for each pie slice," Grandma told me, right after I'd volunteered to sell cake slices door to door. "And your commission will be 5 cents. "No problem, Grandma. That's easy," I replied with a charming smile she loved. The trick was that I would sell each slice not for 15 cents, as directed by Grandma, but for 25 cents. I never reported the actual selling price. When Grandma paid me my 5 cents commission, I would think, I deserve that extra money. I work hard. I gave Grandma the 15 cents for each slice I sold. Nothing wrong with me making some money on the side. However, this always made me feel guilty. Grandma, on the other hand, knew it all along, especially when an angry customer would come and complain that I split a slice in half and still charged full price for it. She would just smile and refund the money, never putting me on the spot, but instead saying, "Nice job, mijo. Nice job going out and selling all the cake." I loved helping out, especially when she would tell me we were going to take another trip. "Pack your box." Yes, my luggage was a cardboard box. "Pack your box, mijo. We're going to Tijuana," Yayita would tell me with a smile. "Can I ride on top of the bus, Grandma?" I would say excitedly. "I'll ask the driver, and we'll see." Grandma would sidestep the big "no way" that was at the tip of her tongue. I loved to travel. I'd always wanted to ride on top of the bus, like the pobrecitos, as Grandma referred to the people who couldn't afford to pay a bus ticket inside of the bus. They would ride on the roof rack on top of the bus, and I fantasized about the day I could do that. It looked so fun, riding on top of the bus, with a 360-degree view throughout the entire trip. Feeling the wind on your face, singing as loud as you could. Nobody could hear you because the wind would drown the howling of the a cappella hyenas on top of the bus. "Is this your goat, ma'am?" the bus driver asked the older woman standing outside the bus, ready to take the same trip to Tijuana. "Si, señor. Pamphila, that's the goat's name. She's quiet and obedient. She'll bother no one," said the old lady with the withered face and stained and dirty clothes. "Be that as it may, the goat must sit on your lap if you're to bring it inside the bus. Otherwise, you two must ride on the top," said the driver with an I call the shots tone. "Pamphila can sit on my lap," I said with pleading eyes. "Cállate, mijo. We don't do that. The goat stinks. Besides, goats poop and pee a lot, and I don't want to be cleaning any of that," said Grandma decisively. "Speaking of that, Grandma, could I get a boiled egg?" I asked Grandma. She was always prepared. Yayita would boil at least 3 dozen eggs so that we could have nutritious snacks on the way. "Sure, mijo, here's one." "What the?" "Look, Grandma, this egg is not cooked," I said, cleaning the raw egg yolk and white that had spilled all over my shirt. Well, I shouldn't be ungrateful. I guess Yayita couldn't think of everything. This time she had forgotten to boil our snacks. "Eggs are good raw, you know," a pobrecito said. "Here, let me show you how to eat them. Give me one. All you have to do is put salt, and if you have lime, even better." He ate a few of our eggs, showing me how it was done. A lot of these pobrecitos were not traveling for pleasure. A lot of them were traveling out of necessity. Some had lost their house or their job to some capitalistic exporting company who had monopolized their farm. Some had lost their spouse or child because of the lack of money for medical coverage. Some had to migrate and chase the ever-elusive United States American dream. Freeze the story. People have been migrating to the United States for a long time, mijo, Grandpa Indo used to tell me. Even more after Americans created the border in 1924. Why did they make a border, Grandpa? It doesn't stop people from going to the US, right? I would ask puzzled. People keep on moving up north, and the ones that come back say that it's easy to jump the border or swim across the river. That's right, mijo. No border or border patrol can ever stop the natural phenomenon of migration. It's in the human DNA. People will continue to migrate for as long as they are called humans, Grandpa would say in a defiant tone. He spoke with such firmness and contempt in his voice that it seemed as if he was talking to the border patrol agents themselves. He hated that anybody south of the border was called illegal alien. "You know what the only illegal thing is here, mijo?" Grandpa Indo would ask rhetorically. "The Yankees living in the Southwest. That's illegal. They took our land illegally from us. They stole it from us. And now they call us illegal aliens. Que la chinga. They have no shame." What happens if somebody's caught into the US, Grandpa? I would ask curiously. What happens to honest and hardworking Mexicans working in the US? Grandpa Indo was on a roll every time this issue came up. "I'll tell you what happens, mijo. The American law says that illegal aliens will be prosecuted as common criminals, so they have to face the legal consequences. That's what happens." Migration is a story that has been happening since the beginning of time. It is a story of nature. We see it every day, from the monarch butterflies to the Canadian geese. Since the dawn of man, this is the story of mankind. A story that began hundreds of thousands of years ago and continues and will continue to repeat itself until the end of time. From the first humans that walked the face of the earth, to the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, to the modern humans and the natives and aboriginal people from around the world, all the way to today, to the ever-growing globalization that is closing in and melting values, cultures, traditions, and beliefs. Are the Americans going to take more Mexican territory, Grandpa? I would ask worriedly. No, mijo, no. The gabachos are clever. They get smarter as time goes by. Take World War II, for example. In 1942, the Americans were busy fighting and realized that they needed cheap labor, so they changed the laws. As they do every time they realize they've made a mistake. So they created the Bracero program, which allowed Mexicans to work legally in the US. Well, that's not bad, is it, Grandpa? I tried to reason. True, mijo. It wouldn't be bad if they hadn't put an end to the program in 1964, my contemptuous grandpa answered. However, for me, migration was not a necessity, not now anyway. My grandma and I worked hard in our small town grocery store. We saved our money and planned our migration trips. We always came back to Patzingan though. We loved our hometown. Back to my story. As a kid, going to Tijuana was exciting, especially when I skipped school. Every time we went to Tijuana, my Aunt Gude and her kids, Pepe, Güera, Juan, Julia, Ana, and Christian, her son, Armando and Patty treated me like a king. They would take me to the Tijuana beach, where I first saw the American border. It was fascinating. I used to sit on the beach fence, marking the boundary between Mexico and the US. "You cannot go to San Diego," Patty, my cousin, would say. "You don't have papers." "So what?" I would question her. "We can just jump over the fence. It looks tall, but it doesn't look that hard to jump. I've jumped bigger fences in a boxing gun." "No, silly," Patty would smile and hug me. "It doesn't work like that. If you jump the fence, they may shoot you or put you in jail." "It's okay, I ain't scared," I said proudly. "When I jump fences in Michoacan, they shoot at me too, but I'm fast. People cannot catch me." It's worth pointing out that while going to Tijuana during school was great, there were consequences to be paid. In my case, I was held back in the first grade. Can you believe it? I did 2 years in first grade in La Benigno Cerrato, my elementary school. I hated my second year in first grade. The new bunch of first graders was boring. They were boring and childish. Some would still cry for their mommy. What a bunch of whiners. Some would even still pee in their pants. First graders, I used to think. Back to La Tiendita story. "Is that you, Elio? I see you. I totally see you. Get out from under there. I want to know if we can do homework together," the neighborhood pretty girl would say, urging me to come out from my hiding under the big stack of onions in our grocery store. "Oh no, the pretty girl knows I work here as a store clerk. Now she's never going to like me," I thought, hiding from her. I didn't mind working at Grandma's grocery store. This time, however, I was covered in dust and smelled like onion. I didn't want the pretty girl to see me or smell me like this. After this situation, I told my grandma that I wanted to do my own thing. She noticed that I wanted a promotion. I needed a status. I needed to feel that I was independent and important. "Here, mijo, this is your very own storefront business now," said Grandma proudly, while pointing at my very own business storefront across from her store. "Grandma, you didn't have to," I exclaimed. I couldn't believe it. Yayita had just bought me a set of blenders. She knew how much I loved to make shakes. "No, mijo, you earned it. You get up at 4 a.m. in the morning every day, come to work after school, and you always pull your weight. So here, go make some money," said Grandma. That's true. I was up at the crack of dawn. I could remember all the times when my grandma and I went to El Mercado Grande, where we bought wholesale all of our grocery store merchandise. I remember all the times after Grandma had made the purchases, I would help El Carretero load the merchandise on the old mule wagon. I remember the smell of the mule's farts, or the sight of the mules pooping like a non-stop mudslide while pulling the load on the carriage that looked like so last century. "Wake up, mijo, wake up!" yelled Grandma, alarmed. What's going on, Grandma?" I woke up confused. "Where are the blenders?" asked Grandma. "Where are they?" What do you mean?" I asked, still not knowing what was going on. The blenders were gone. It was my Make You Shake, the name of my business, grand opening, and the blenders were gone. Many years later, my grandma would tell the story laughing. She would remember it vividly. A day before the grand opening, I had prepared my storefront Make You Shake brand new business. I went to bed and woke up at 4 a.m. as usual. I went to Mercado Grande with Grandma, rode the stinking carreta, unloaded the merchandise. I then opened my store and took a nap. Just 5 minutes, I thought. But when I woke up, or rather, when Grandma woke me up, the blenders were gone. The merchandise was gone. The whole business was gone. Somebody had scored.
Se fue un colorado y a nos vino aquí a saludar. Que me busque, me encuentra por el rumbo de Apatzingán. Se fue un colorado y a pa' chingar.